Teaching the new appointed the new
All right, it is 5 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, for being here for our work session for the February 16th council meeting. We've got two people speaking tonight. The first will be Daniel Boutwell. His department will give a quick update. So, Environmental Services, you are up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Evening.
Good evening. Ms. Simon, did you get that 45-minute PowerPoint ready for me?
I actually would not be shocked.
4 to 5 minutes.
Oh, that's what I meant. First of all, I'd like to say one thing. I would like to brag on my staff. We have made and implemented many, many changes that nothing could have been accomplished if it wasn't for the men and women that work for us. And I just want to say thank you to them and talk about how great they work. So first of all, we're environmental services, so we're going to talk trash, right? So we're more than just trash. So we're sanitation, we're beautification, we're the garage, and we also have the fuel island. And sanitation, we have 27 employees. The manager for sanitation is Kip Carter, and he's about to have 31 years in the city. So there's a wealth of knowledge that he brings to the table along with our other supervision. We have 2 other supervisors. We pick up garbage Tuesday through Friday. As of December, we have 19,573 accounts that we pick up for, and we do that weekly. That's your trash. And last year, we picked up 12,427 tons of bulk goods. So that's your loader trucks. Out of just the regular garbage, we picked up 20,594.25 tons. So we pick up a lot of trash. Also, last year, our new compactor came online. We used to only have one. So now that we have 2. And with that, we have accomplished a 40% less wait time on our trucks that dump into the transfer station. With that, also, you can see this year we collaborated with the street department to help in leaves, and we were able to open up one side of the compactor at the transfer station to move leaves. And so that was way more efficient than having to drive all the way to Trinity to the landfill. We also implemented a 3-year turnaround plan on our trucks. When I started working here 4 years ago, we had about a 4 to 6 week wait time for bulk pickup, which is, as I was told numerous times, completely unacceptable, and I agree with it. We did get new trucks, thank you to the council and working with finance. And we no longer have any vehicles, any trucks that are older than 3 years. So that is a huge win for the city. I would also like to point out that we have went from 4 to 6 weeks to pick up, that we now run between 1.5 to 2 weeks. However, last week we were able to go around the whole city and bulk pick up in 1 week. And that is our goal that we are working on. I'd also like to talk a little bit about beautification. Beautification started in our department full start about 2 years ago, and in that we started off with 3 vans. And those 3 vans, we built a team with 3 drivers, about 12 to 16 inmates that come and work for us, state trustees. And in that, we pick up a lot of litter, especially on our right-of-ways. And all that, everybody thinks, oh, you just get the litter, that's all you do. Well, we're also in charge of alleys. We clean the alleys, we trim alleys, and we also are in charge of the right-of-way mowing contracts, which encompasses Highway 31 and 67, excuse me. In that, we also work with finance to get some of that money back from the state that we do spend on that mowing. But beautification last year picked up 10,522 large bags of trash just off of our right-of-ways. And that does not include any tires or items that do not fit inside of those bags. Also, last year, we came together and we decided that we thought as a city, we could spend funds better by discontinuing a contract service, and that has saved the city a little over $400,000. We brought it all in-house, and we did not add any additional headcount. So that was a win-win for the beautification department. I also like to brag on the leadership of that. Charles Rowe, he came in as a supervisor, and about 16 months ago, he was promoted to manager, and I would like to say he's done a wonderful job in that as well. Our administration was Erin Mallory and Jessica Crumpton. She's our two admins. They answer the phones, but they also manage our fuel island. So we have new fuel pumps in our fuel island, which everybody in the city goes to, city employees. But with that, we've also implemented a third-party certification. So all of our testing is no longer done in-house. We do have a third party. It comes in, inspects, tests, and does all of our ATM compliance. And two of our employees now, I'm one of them, and we are AB tank certified with the state. They also work with Morgan County Health Department to ensure that any exemptions that has to be done by state regulations are completed timely. So I also would like to bring up another part is that we're over the garage, do a lot of fleet maintenance. And we brought in Drew. Drew's been with us not quite a year yet. A little over a year, so not bad. But it does fly when you're having fun. We brought him in as a supervisor. He's brought so much to the table that this past year we decided to promote him to manager. And I would like for him to speak a little bit about the improvements that's been made in our garage.
Thank you, Daniel. So as Daniel said, I've been with the garage for just over a year, and over that past year, I've focused on improving efficiency, reducing cost, and strengthening the garage as a resource for the entire city. First, I worked to improve repair efficiency by reducing turnaround time and preventing vehicles from stacking up on the repair line. We've streamlined the repair process, introduced a preventive maintenance checklist, and began implementing a better maintenance schedule. These steps have helped reduce mechanical failures, limit downtime, and catch issues early while vehicles are already in the shop. A major focus has also been cost savings and budget management. I've consolidated our hardware purchasing to a single vendor, which gave us better control over inventory and eliminated unnecessary spending. I reduced excessive inventory by organizing parts, figuring out what parts we had in stock versus just, continually ordering parts. And then allocating supplies directly to departments whenever a truck comes in for repair. Instead of having all this excess, we just go ahead and order what's needed and then charge it to that department. We've also switched to bulk oil, which has saved dollars on the gallon, and implemented a DEF refill service, which avoids cost of replacing the container every time. And then just overall keeping an eye on spending to ensure we're purchasing what the shop truly needs. In terms of leadership and team development, I've brought a technical knowledge that wasn't previously available in the department. I've helped train and support technicians, provide up-to-date diagnostic resources, and worked alongside the team when needed. I focused on maintaining consistent expectations, improving morale, and addressing work-related concerns as they come up. And then we've also acquired some dealership-specific training opportunities at no additional cost to the city throughout this upcoming year. I've also improved service to the other departments by strengthening communication. Departments are now encouraged to provide clear descriptions of issues and timelines of which they need their vehicles, which helps scheduling and faster repairs. I've worked to streamline parts ordering and I'm currently developing a better system to track repair orders and maintenance history. And as a result, more departments have started choosing to use the city garage, including the fire department support vehicles, which has saved on outside labor costs and reducing downtime for them. I've worked on safety compliance. We've replaced outdated safety equipment, reinforced better safety practices, and then updated any broken tools to improve efficiency and properly repair the vehicles. We've also not had any OJIs thus far with the help of Brad Murphy and safety training. We've utilized newer lifts and have them recertified annually. And then with the help of our work release personnel, we've been able to keep a very clean shop, which has received multiple compliments from outside vendors and other city departments. One of the biggest impacts has been cost savings through warranty knowledge and in-house repairs. We've repaired vehicles that were previously thought to be beyond repair, including a bus for youth services, a patch truck that had sat for 7 years thinking that it was beyond repair, and I think we repaired it for just over $100 or something. We've also helped departments like PD source parts from wrecked units and installing those on units with bad engines, transmissions, which cut thousands in repair costs. But my overall goal at the garage is to continue keeping department vehicles serviced in-house, which reduces costs, minimizing downtime, and ensuring the city gets the most value from its equipment.
And I just like to mention, when I first toured the garage, I was very impressed how clean and organized it is. Then on the attitude, Charles, Kip, and Drew, I agree, and all your staff is great, but I also say you do a tremendous job too. We really appreciate it. You got any questions?
Yeah, I've got, someone to go before me, I've got two. That's it. First of all, I think both of you guys, Drew's been great hearing what you do. I've heard a lot of positive from multiple departments. I don't think a lot of people think about the work it takes to manage the fleet that we have, especially doing it efficiently and saving money. But two questions for you. Thank you. You've done a great job. I've heard a lot of really good things from employees, both your employees and throughout the city, the work you've done since you started with us. And I know you're definitely not one to brag by any means, but I got two questions. The first one is, what do you think is the biggest improvement that you've seen within the department since you started?
Culture.
That was it. That was just a one-word answer.
It's huge because it encompasses everything. If your people don't work together, believe in each other, believe in the leadership, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, what you do, you're never going to be successful.
Well, I know you've done a great job of leading that. I know people in your department think that as well. I've been by your office very early hours of the day multiple times and seen your car there. So the second question is, what do you think is the biggest opportunity right now for improvement?
The biggest opportunity, I think, we really want to get to scheduled bulk pickup. So everybody will know that exact day that bulk pickup is going to happen. And I am not going to say where we're at on that, but that is our goal to get to. I think that would be huge. The service that the residents deserve, the best service that we can provide, and that's what we're going to do.
Anybody got any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I know every time I've asked something from your department, it was going faster than I anticipated. So you guys are doing a good job.
I've actually seen Daniel driving trucks before when there's been an issue. But,
And good. Yeah, I mean, your entire department does an absolutely outstanding job. I agree with all you guys. Good view, beautification, come a long way in the last 4 years.
Every employee, I don't take credit for anything. All of our men and women that work for us, they do an excellent job.
Absolutely. All right. Nothing else. We'll move on. Up next is the Chamber of Commerce. Margaret, Crystal are here. Good evening.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Margaret Jones. I'm the Director of Investor and Business Development for the Decatur-Morgan County Chamber of Commerce. I'm honored to stand before you and update you on a few of our initiatives that we have been working on. Over the past month, we have completed a project, which is in your hands, in partnership with the Morgan County Commission, a residential recruitment guide designed to capitalize on upcoming relocation of the U.S. Space Command headquarters to Huntsville. While we do not yet know the exact number of jobs that will be relocating to the area, we do know that potential relocators are actively researching surrounding communities. With that in mind, we wanted to make the research process easy. We created a publication that highlights the topics people most want to know when they're considering a move: healthcare, education, cost of living, and overall quality of life. More than 12,000 copies were sent via direct mail to zip codes surrounding Peterson Space Force Base, where Space Command is currently located. These mail routes were carefully selected based on the average household income that closely aligns with Space Command employee profiles, ensuring we were reaching the right audience. We also have uploaded the catalog to the Chamber website for people to view. Throughout the guide, you'll notice there is no mention of Space Command. That decision was intentional for two reasons. First, the guide may land in hands of a retiree, a healthcare professional, or someone simply seeking a new start with a lower cost of living, and we want it to resonate with them as well. Second, we wanted this publication to have longevity beyond Space Command so that it can be used for current and future relocation efforts. I've already distributed this guide to several local employers, including Decatur Morgan Hospital, that are actively recruiting top talent from across the country. Rather than answering the same initial questions repeatedly, they now have a resource that addresses those first-round considerations in a clear and attractive way. Our goal was to create a catalog that is both aesthetically pleasing and informative, one that showcases why Decatur and Morgan County are a great place to live, work, and raise a family, regardless of the reason someone may be considering a move here. So now that you've heard about our residential efforts, I want to discuss our business development efforts. Still being fairly new in my role since starting in August, I've been diving headfirst into training opportunities to better understand and adapt to the ever-changing retail market. Over the past few weeks, I've been actively setting meetings with prospects that are in high demand based on feedback from our residents. With the momentum our city is currently experiencing, I believe now is the right time to really capitalize on that interest and proactively show prospects what our market has to offer. One long-term effort I'm working on is a retail recruitment guide. I've been collaborating closely with our partner organizations such as DDRA and Tourism to gather the kind of information restaurants and retailers typically want before considering a new location. I've created a retail guide specifically for downtown Decatur that tells the story of the area and highlights key data points like annual visitors, average event attendance, traffic counts, and more. While I'm still working through my design process, I'd be happy to share it with you all for your feedback. The goal is to refine this downtown guide first, then expand the concept to Morgan County as a whole. This guide will serve as a tangible resource we can leave with prospective businesses and help to keep Decatur top of mind as they consider expanding or relocating to right here.
Thank you, Margaret.
You're welcome.
Any questions? I would just say thank y'all for doing this. You hit on a couple of things I think are really important. Residential growth has always been a key issue for me and many others, and good quality residential growth, bringing in good residents that help our city, but also the business community. And I know that's the Chamber's world, so appreciate y'all kind of playing into both of those. Another thing is that I do think it's really important to work collaboratively with other organizations. It's very easy in y'all's world to get siloed, so I think it's critical that the Chamber and DDRA and Tourism, the E-Center to some extent, EDA and others, that everybody works together.
Absolutely.
To pull the ship forward, and we want to help, from a city standpoint, help you guys with that in ways that we can to support the initiatives which y'all do. So.
And since starting, I've spent a lot of time with DDRA, with Tourism, with John Joseph at the E-Center, to make sure that one, they're great resources as I'm learning in my role, but also so that we are a united front moving forward. That's definitely more attractive when you go and talk to businesses, that it's not the chamber approaching them, it's not DDRA approaching them, it's all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to say, Crystal Brown is retiring, so I want to congratulate her and thank her for all of her years of service to Decatur and Morgan County.
Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. Okay, and that is it for the presentations this evening. Thank everyone for being here to present. Moving into the agenda, first we have approval of monthly bills, approved January 2026 AP checks. Any questions, comments? All right, approval of minutes, January 27th, 2026, 5 p.m. council work session, February 2nd, 2026, 5:30 p.m. council work session, February 2nd, 2026, 6 p.m. council meeting. Any questions, comments? All right, public hearings. Resolution number 26015, authorize abatement of unsafe conditions at 1604 Cedar Street Southwest. This public hearing was set on January 20th, 2026.
No changes on those.
All right, any questions? Resolution number 26016, authorize abatement of unsafe conditions at 2260 Kukin Avenue Southwest. Public hearing was set January 20th, 2026.
No changes.
All right, any questions? Resolution number 26017, authorize abatement of unsafe conditions at 612 3rd Avenue Southwest. Public hearing was set January 20th, 2026.
No changes on that one either.
No changes. And the last one is ordinance number 264635, approved pre-zoning 143625 for property located at 2520 Point Mallard Drive. The public hearing was set on January 20th, 2026. No changes. That is a small parcel of land owned by Decatur Utilities, just bringing it into the city. All right, resolutions. Resolution number 26034, approved professional services for intersection improvements along Beltline Road, Highway 67.
Yes, I was asked to look at a right-hand turn lane if you're northbound on Sandlin Road, turning eastbound on the Beltline, and create an actual right turn lane that's not there. And this is for the professional services to start that design work.
Okay, any questions? Do you know about how long the design timeline is?
It depends, but being in an ALDOT right-of-way, it could take a little bit longer than, fortunately, we shouldn't have any right-of-way. It's just finding out if we can actually fit it in with utility poles and what do we do with the frontage road, and lots of variables in there to work out.
All right, thank you. Resolution number 26035, approved public safety training center HVAC replacement. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Request for this funding is, we have 16 units that take care of their public safety training center. This will be to replace 3 of them. These units were built in 1997, 1998, and they've just reached end of life.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution number 26036, approved $19,425 in funds for Spirit of America fireworks display. Mr. Allen?
How are y'all? So this is to approve funding for fireworks for Spirit of America. With partnerships throughout the city and with Parks and Rec's involvement, we're hoping to bring Spirit of America back to life a little bit this year, but obviously the fireworks is a big piece of it, and getting this company on the schedule and booked out is very important. We feel like this is a quality of life event for the citizens of Decatur, and so we're looking for funding to lock in this firework display for SOA.
Okay. This is a 15-minute show. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
You want longer, or?
Are you asking me, or I would say yes, but 15 minutes is.
Surveys actually show that 12 to 13 minutes is the attention span for fireworks.
I could watch longer. All right. Any other questions?
Is this normally in the budget? I don't remember ever approving this before. Is this normally just in the budget?
Well, there's a local organization that has in the past been able to raise funds for fireworks, and Kyle may can speak to if it's been paid for in the past. That's right, though, right? That organization over time has dwindled to there's only one person actually still involved in that organization. So for us, it's, we want to take this on as a city and provide something awesome for our citizens, and we'll still partner with that organization to help us facilitate the event. But we just, if they can raise funds to help elevate the event, that would be great. But we just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss the boat on the fireworks.
I appreciate that. I don't, well, there hasn't been, but there's ever not been a fireworks show at Point Mountain, as long as I've been alive.
We're not going to ask how long that is.
Said my comment real quiet. All right, thank you, Hunter. Resolution number 26037, approved surplus of vehicles no longer needed by environmental department. Mr. Sherrill.
Jeremy Sherrill, procurement. As stated, this is a request to surplus these 4 trucks from environmental.
All right, any questions? Thank you. Resolution number 26038, approved contract with Decker Technologies for short-term rental software in the amount of $28,500.
After vetting, this is to approve the contract for a selected company to do our STR tracking, monitoring, and compliance. After vetting 2 companies, this company rose to the top very easily. I vetted and called and checked the references on 3 places around the state as well as outside of the state. A lot of their clientele happens to be areas that experience a lot of tourism. One of the most attractive features about them was their ability to be able to onboard and train us and have us prepared by April 1st. They also, here are some of the quotes from some of the companies or the other cities that we've spoken to. From Dolphin Island, the training has been excellent. The software is very user-friendly. Our former service was not very user-friendly. Just trying to navigate around it was difficult. This new software is very up-to-date and very useful, and a lot of counties in South Alabama around the Gulf Coast also use it. This lady from Mount Pleasant from the Planning and Development Department said that they have great customer service, great info for identification to make contact with properties. They're really good with providing proof and information if you ever have to go to court for a ticket or a citation. And her last quote was that if they got rid of Deckard, that she would quit her job and she wouldn't go to another job unless they had Deckard. So that was enough to stand on. Some of the products that they'll offer was very wraparound and cohesive. Just from having the base price of about $5,000, they provide address identification, compliance monitoring, rental activity reporting, an outreach campaign even before you start the process, alerting those individuals that are on the system already and have legacy short-term rentals that we are approaching a new process, and they will contact them and let them know that they will have to register with the city. They provide reporting and analysis through a dynamic dashboard that we can follow. There's a dedicated account manager that helps us with our customer service or any technical support issues that we may have. We have unlimited accounts and training sessions. The a la carte optional products that we're also receiving from Deckard includes an STR registration portal, a tax payment portal, a complaint 24/7 hotline with an online form, and a constituent portal where a public person could go out and look and see where there are STRs in their community without even calling us. And lastly, an inspection module that'll help navigate and help us segue to doing the inspections for each of the STRs.
Thank you, Chad. Any questions on this one?
So as the last time we talked about this, there were some concerns about if we needed to add head count and that sort of thing. And from what you're saying here, there's a lot of things that this will be doing that your people won't have to do. So
Absolutely.
You can concentrate on other things. So
Absolutely.
This is more robust than the original one that you had, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think it's a full suite of services, every aspect of it. I think what's important to note too is that adding one person per head count would cost us substantially more than this 28 $28,500 a year to maintain all this. And they're experienced, they know what they're doing, they've done this in multiple other cities, so.
Well, with that 28.5 being any expense, obviously it wasn't budgeted. We didn't have this on the radar back then. Do we foresee a way where we offset that cost with?
And we're recommending that this is attached to lodging tax.
Yeah, so the goal is to tag this to lodging tax. And as you know, we share 64.5% of that with Tourism Board. So we've recently had, well, not recently, years ago, we had a Chevam contract that basically came off the top, and then the revenue share happened. So that will be the same setup with this, where that cost will be calculated off the top, and then we'll share the revenue off that.
And we feel with this service that we won't need any more personnel in the department at this time.
Absolutely not. One of the referrals even mentioned to me that she's located outside of Charleston, South Carolina, whom sees a lot more tourism than we do. She says that she sees over 400 short-term rentals over the course of a year, and she's the only person that manages it.
All right, thank you, Chad. Any other questions on that?
I just want to say good job in checking with all these other locations that use this.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Thank you.
And getting on the agenda quickly. It's good too. So we can move forward. All right, resolution number 26039, approved vacation request number 55825 for Habitat for Humanity in Morgan County.
Yes, this applicant is requesting to vacate telecommunications, drainage, and utilities. This vacation is for the Heritage Subdivision. Engineering and DU signed off on this vacation, and it went before the Planning Commission in November.
All right, any questions? Thank you, Chad. Resolution number 26040, approved proposed golf course rate structure update.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
All right, so as you all know, we're going through, our golf course is closed at the moment for irrigation repairs. And with that, we saw it as a good opportunity to balance out our rate structure at the golf course. Throughout this process, we did research on multiple public courses throughout the state, as well as North Alabama. The goal with this was not as much to increase our rates, but to streamline our rate structure. If you were to look at our current rate structure, we have a weekly walking rate, a weekend walking rate. We have a weekday riding rate, a weekend riding rate. We have seasonal rates. We have, and I could go on and on. We have a significant amount of rates, and even with memberships, it varies, and it breaks down the membership into 4 separate memberships based on the type. So what this does is it really helps bring it together, streamline what we're offering without drastically modifying or changing the rates. And so what I did is I did make some notes to share, because I know some questions are probably like, well, what are the old rates and which way are we going and how is this going to look? How does it benefit our residents? And I think that was a big key here was with this change, making sure the residents were protected with this structure. So if you look at the old rate, it was 40, this is just standard rate. So without a cart, the rate was $40 for 18 holes. So for a guest now, that rate is going to $44 without a cart for 18 holes. For a Decatur resident, it is going down to $31 without a cart. There was multiple rates around that when you break down the weekday and the weekend. And what we've done is with that rate I'm referring to was the highest rate that was published. So that was a slight modification there. So you'll see a very marginal increase for guests that live outside the city of Decatur, and then a decrease for Decatur residents to offer them an opportunity. Now, with that being said, our monthly membership rate if you averaged out the yearly, because we were only offering annual memberships, when you averaged it out, it was at $116.67 per month. The proposed rate is $125 per month, but there are additional benefits that were not carried with the previous membership. If you look at this as well, there's an added cart plan. So if you want to save on cart fees, you can add a cart plan of $110 a month. It also adds additional family members to that membership at $50 a piece per month. The previous plan only allowed you to add a spouse. This allows you to add any members of your household. So if you have a spouse and a son and a daughter, or however that looks, you can add multiples at $50 each, which you can really win there if you have a family that's trying to participate in golf on a regular basis. There is one fee that I want to remove before next Monday. And that is the additional fee for riders, for ride-along non-golfers. When I put this in here, this was us, kind of matching what other courses do. And the more I thought about it, I don't like if you want to bring a spouse or a friend or to come play, to ride with you while you play. I don't really want to charge them. I would rather than be able to join at no cost. So I want to remove the rider fee, may add an exception. If you're requiring an additional cart and not riding along, then there may be an additional fee. But if you're riding along with a friend or, our spouse or partner, then we would not charge that fee, which would encourage more people to come to our course and also help us grow the game as well. So if y'all are okay, I'll probably remove that from this document.
That'd be great.
Okay.
If you can, just remove that, update it, that way we've got it.
Yeah, I'll get it updated and to y'all ASAP, and then.
Well, just update it, send it to myself so I can get it changed on the agenda.
Okay. And then the last thing I want to highlight is in the fee adjustment section, it says fees may be adjusted for seasonal rate changes, twilight discounts, promotional discounts, and other reasons that may be unforeseen. And the reason we put that in is, and I also want to highlight that the rate, did go up just from the base level rate, but what we plan to do is offer more promotional packages. We actually are working on a software that will be implemented when we reopen for booking tee times. That was something that was approved, I think back in the summer of last year, if I remember right. And that's coming along really well. We've been working on demos. It looks great. But what we're doing is we're going to be working with other online booking platforms. GolfNow is a popular one that offers live discounts. So as there's availability, we'll be offering discounts for people to book tee times. So those rates will be fluid. So as what our base rate does is it protects the integrity of our tee times and keeping people from overbooking popular times with regulars and people that come on a regular basis, members, et cetera. So there will be, I guess there'll be some people say, oh, they're going up on their rates, but big picture, when you add twilight rates and discounted rates, that is not the goal. The goal is to bring more people to the course, grow the game, while protecting the integrity of the course as well.
Any questions? So really, you're going down on rates for local residents, so I think that's really important to highlight. We want our residents to enjoy our facilities, so reducing that and the increase is really not significant for those non-residents that will be playing. So great job on this.
Especially if you had the weekend rate that was higher too, so kind of evened it out. But yes, I like having discounted rates for the citizens of Decatur. I think that's great. And I really like you eliminating the additional fees for the rider. I think that's great too. Good job.
I was going to say, there's an initiative put on by the Alabama Golf Association.
Did y'all plan to wear the same thing?
No. We were talking about golf, so I want to golf. There's a initiative put on by the Alabama Golf Association. It's statewide. It's actually nationwide. It's called Youth on the Course. So basically, they're part of this membership. Kids will be able to sign up for, I think it's around $30. And what happens is that they'll be able to go to participating golf courses, which we hope to be, and pay $5 to play. And the AGA basically subsidizes the difference of what you truly charge versus what the kid gets charged. So it just helps promote golf for young kids, and I know it's as someone that grew up playing it, it's expensive sport, so to have that benefit for kids to be able to go out and play is awesome. So I wanted to share that with y'all too, because I think it's important we talk about doing these things to help grow the game too.
And previously, you had to pay for a year's membership lump sum, correct?
That is correct.
I think the monthly is going to make a big difference for many people.
And I did somewhat of some light surveying with some people that stopped playing Point Mallard over the last several years and have joined private clubs. And there were people that were going to pay more at private clubs because they couldn't afford the lump sum at once. So they would go pay $200-300 a month somewhere because they didn't want to. They couldn't fork out whether $2,500 at once, which was pretty much what our rate was with the CART plan, right? So, I think that was something big to me, was to try to get it to that monthly and promote it as a monthly. Now, if somebody comes up and they want to pay all at once for 12 months at a time, we'll still allow that. But the idea was for it to be promoted as a monthly rate.
If they pay by the year, would they get a discount?
No, ma'am. You may or may not be the first one to ask that question. And we also, before we had multiple rates for military, senior, and it kind of went down the list. So what we did is we just added a 10% discount for seniors and military instead of having separate rates.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, resolution number 26041, approval of pro instructor structure and contract.
All right, so this is an adjustment to our current structure or lack thereof structure with the instructor and pro situation, no matter what the sport is. But I just want to point out a few things. So our current structure, it does expose our city to liability, payroll tax compliance, insurance exposure, revenue loss, and inconsistent enforcement of adopted policies. And so with this proposed structure, it will help protect the city legally. It also helps protect employees from wage disputes, protects instructors from liability as well as the city. It also protects revenue integrity and protects our leadership's credibility as well. So I don't know if y'all have had time to review this document. Herman and I, as well as Kyle and HR, we started working on this in August or September of 2025. This has been something that we've been trying to get right. I don't know if it's ever going to be perfect, but I'm open to feedback. And I think if we need to make adjustments, and it may be a potential situation where we're working with HR to continue to round out this process to make sure we get everything right when it comes to labor laws and protecting employees as well.
I think it's an excellent starting place where you guys are now.
But there's a percentage share of,
Yeah.
Based on what they're providing, the revenue would be shared, that's correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So, and the idea was, it wasn't as much to capitalize on the instructor and what they're collecting, but more to protect the integrity of the booking and the court fees that every citizen has to pay, especially at, we use Jimmy John's Tennis Center as an example, but a lot of these facilities, there's fees tied to this, and there's, regular citizens that want to book these courts and they have to pay, right? So just because you're taking a lesson doesn't necessarily evade the fact that there's a court fee tied to that. So that percentage is just to help try to maintain that balance. Also, I want to clarify, there was a lot of research done with other cities across the state as well as even the United States, cities of similar size. One reference I'll make is the city of Tuscaloosa. They have a large tennis population, and that was one I reached out to specifically. And this rate structure matches what they do there. So this was, and we also, I spoke with the Big Ten directors in Parks and Rec across the state. We are the only city that operates the way we currently do. Every city has adopted policies to move in this direction. So this is just trying to get our processes streamlined with expectations in our industry, but also laws as well.
In conversations with our instructors, pros, have those happened? They're kind of aware of
Yeah.
what the structure looks like?
I've been speaking with them about this for the last 3 months, just because I didn't want it to be something that caught them off guard. And even some feedback that I got, we have some people teaching out there that they came from other locations, and this was the structure that was used at the locations they came from. So the system is not, it's not something we came up with. It's just something that we're trying to implement to be consistent. Whether it's, I don't want to completely just isolate tennis. I mean, this could be golf, it could be any sport, where, or even you could go down the road of what this could evolve to, but when we move in the rec center, there's going to be fitness instructors and classes, and so figuring out a way to make sure that these people are compensated correctly, and making sure the integrity of the facility is maintained. I mean, it's something that's important, not only to us, but our users as well. So something that we just, I think there may be more around this to come, but this was something to try to help us get started.
All right. Any other questions?
I'm just going to say this is something that not being was broken, and Hunter did a great job of putting the system, program together to improve it.
I agree. All right, resolution number 26042, approve $170,000 in funding for a kayak launch at Point Mallard.
So this is what the visuals are for, just because I know this resolution kind of came as just a random ask for dollars. And so I wanted to provide some clarity. This is without us entering into any contractual agreement. So I want to be clear, this number that we're asking for, we're just asking to set that aside in a program budget, so we can continue to work on this project. So I want to give some clarity and some insight on this project. So let's see, I'm pulling up my notes, jumping from agenda item to agenda item. All right, so about a month or two ago, Nature and ASRT, which is North Alabama Trails and Recreation, and the Alabama Scenic River Trail, in partnerships with Senator Orr and other state entities that help fund a project, they started the Flint Creek Paddle Trail project that you've seen, where they're implementing kayak launches throughout the Flint Creek. Point Mallard is a key part of this because it's the entry point into Flint Creek from the Tennessee River. And so when they were looking at sites, they came to us, and we shared common interests in activating a spot at Point Mallard for a kayak launch site. So with that being said, we dedicated a location to help partner with what they were doing, and you may have seen some news publications back a few months ago where they announced that this would be the location. So coming, fast forward to now, we've taken some stuff we were working on as a department and now collaborating with them to try to help bring this to life. So what they were looking at doing was putting in a concrete sloped kayak launch at Point Mallard. Well, we felt, there was definitely a need for a kayak launch there. We wanted, we had some desires to add some additional elements, so we've been working together. So I want to show just kind of some conceptuals, or why we're asking for funding. So Nature and ASRT, they are committing $60,000 to this project. As a city, we're looking at implementing 2 self-service kayak stations, which could be accessed at any time by citizens of Decatur or tourists coming into our city. Hive is a company we've been working with. This is an image of what these self-service kayak stations would look like. So you walk up to it, scan a QR code, unlock a station, and pull out your equipment and hit the river. So you can run through a few pictures. So the Hive systems, which the city would own and maintain, the price on these are $55,000, and that's for 2 units. So it's one 8-slot, one 5-slot unit, And we have those kayaks broken down to where they're individual, there's tandem, there's fishing, and there's paddle boards as well that would be in these systems. If you go to the next slide. So accompanied with that, what we were looking at doing is adding an accessible kayak launch to the site instead of doing the concrete sloped. And so this is a kayak launch for people of all abilities, and we felt like was a needed elevation of what they were already working on. And this, what you're looking at right here, is the one we're looking at Point Mallard, is 60 foot of ramp going out to a floating dock, and that system is about 100. Let me see, I have a number here. It's around 135K. Anyways, the total commitment needed to get this installed is roughly $200,000. So with this 200K and ASRT's commitment of 60, that leaves 140K remaining to complete this project. We estimate around $20,000 in kayak equipment, which we would own and maintain. And then I added an additional $10,000 to this for, if we incur any overages or have any, issues that we need to address. My goal, and speaking with the partners that are involved, we have some partners that have expressed interest in also donating to this project, and Nature and ASRT are exploring additional funding. So if they are able to locate additional funding, that our number would decrease. So my hope is that we don't spend the entire 170K, but I wanted to go ahead and allot the money. That way we could, we could ensure our partners that we're serious in this endeavor, and we want to make it happen. So that's the kind of the principle behind why we're asking for this money today. I think there may be one more picture on there. So just to give you an idea, this is another visual of what we're looking at Point Mallard for the kayak launch.
On the Hive deal, so they'll provide all the kayaks and paddle boards, and if there's an issue with one, do they replace?
No. So that's where, so when I was going through that, I'm anticipating us buying the equipment. And so that's where I've allotted, the equipment should cost us around $15K. I've allotted $20K for the equipment. That's all the kayaks, the paddle boards, the jackets, the whistles, any first aid equipment that would be in each unit. Now, if something breaks, if something is lost, then there's systems in place with Hive that with the actual user of the system, like if you rent a kayak and take it out and don't return it, then it's going to charge you for not returning that kayak. So we would recoup those funds in that scenario. And then there is so the 55K is for the units itself. And then you can pay more and they provide the equipment, but then you have to pay a service fee every month for them to maintain it. So I felt like it was better, and we have some people in our department that have some expertise in this area, so we felt like it was better for us to source the equipment and to maintain it, and we feel like it was more economical and sensible for us to do that.
Real quick, obviously anything having to do with water around here and everyone now has to have a TVA approved.
Yeah.
Have you already started that
Yeah.
process? What's the anticipated timeline on approval from them?
I can't really give you a timeline. We started this process several months back, and we're working with Derek South at TVA to try to get this rolling. So obviously this is pending TVA approval. So if TVA shuts it down, then the money goes back to where it came from, and we keep rolling. We are not going to buy anything until we have approval from TVA. So just want to clarify.
Do you have any idea how big the love of kayaking is? How many people do that in this area? Do you have any data on that?
I can't give you an exact number on the amount of kayakers in this area, but what I can tell you is we have data that shows that the number one reason that visitors come to Decatur is outdoor recreation. There's multiple sources of that data. I think it's close to 59% of visitors that pass through our city, they pass through here for outdoor recreation. One thing I would say to that is I don't think we do enough to maximize our offerings. I think us being the River City, and the mayor's, I've heard him say this numerous times, but with us being the River City, I think we really need to embody that. And I think this is a big step. When you look at the other cities on the river, down the Tennessee River and on the river line, they're all making strides in a positive direction when it comes to outdoor recreation and environmental stewardship. And I think it's time that we start doing our part as well.
So this organization that's raising this money, they are a kayaker, what's their background?
North Alabama Trails and Recreation, they work on everything from environmental stewardship to whether it nature trails to water sports, and helping, they leverage partners across the state, whether it's government funds, whether it's colleges, universities, or other local groups, to help drive initiatives to whether it's cleaning up creeks or whether it's doing something like this to activate the water systems, or just environmental education and that kind of stuff. So a lot of these nonprofit organizations that we're working with, we all have a common interest, and I think this is an example of, bringing it all together, what it can be, what it can look like.
Yeah, because it is two separate organizations, and so I think it's pretty neat to see them very similar, issues they deal with and kind of shared goal, but still two different organizations. So I think Hunter's done a good job of pulling them together to try to get this through.
And I agree, if we're going to be the River City, we need to, but my biggest question is how many people will utilize that? How big of a, are there kayak groups around or organizations, clubs that we could get some information on how much? The last thing I want to do is do something and it not be used. That's
the hard part of that is there's pretty high cost of just getting into kayaking. So a lot of residents that don't want to just jump in and go buy an expensive kayak, but may want to see if they like it, or people visiting that are not going to load a kayak up and bring it with them. So it's really hard to tell how many will use. There's not a real way to run a true projection on how many will use it. The best example would be like the blue bikes, the Blue Cross Blue Shield bikes. We weren't sure, but those are performing great. People are using them. I think this is very similar, but I do think we've got to activate the water, so to say, and I think this is a great way to do it. I think this is the right way to do it. You do it right the first time. We're not just going to go out and build a cheap, concrete ramp. I think this serves anybody and everybody that wants to get an opportunity to kayak at a good location. I know that the conversation always comes up, why Point Mallard? And, I would say this: if somebody's on the river regularly, I don't foresee a lot of people wanting to kayak on the main channel. This is a much better location, already at a central hub of recreation. So,
yeah. Well, you're bringing up a good point. What the people that are into kayaking already have their own stuff, unless they're visiting and they don't want to carry it. So you've got the visitors. But what it might do is open up those people who haven't done that before but want to try, and they're novices. And that's another good point, that it's in an area where it's not, where the novice won't have an issue doing it.
Well,
It's inclusive as well.
Anybody regardless of the ability.
Can that be used for anything besides kayaking? I don't know anything about this, that's why I'm asking.
Now, if you look on the right, that system on the right is made for any sort of small craft to be slid down, and then you can easily get into that watercraft without it floating away. Or it could be so canoes, paddleboards, kayaks, they all fit in this system. So anything that's pretty much a non-motorized craft can be utilized this way. And I think another piece too is like this is going to be used by people that also have their own equipment. Now, I think the Hive systems, the reason they're a complementary piece of this is because now we have created that opportunity for people that don't have the equipment. So we have both now. And then with the system that Nature and ASRT has put together, they have 5 sites along Flint Creek which go back and through the refuge. And so you can get out or get in at any of these 5 locations. This is going to be the only location with an accessible launch. And so for me, I think that was something that was extremely important. But people, the goal is, hopefully through activating the entire Flint Creek system, you're also encouraging people to get out or get in at Point Mallard, where we have other amenities, and this somewhat of a another gateway to our city that's not a road or railway.
It would have to be marketed so that those people that come in to kayak will maybe not know what Point Mallard is, and then they get there and say, oh, there's all this other stuff here too.
Yeah, absolutely. And each site will have a kiosk with wayfinding and information on how to navigate the creek. It'll have information on where each kayak site launch is. And so throughout the system, no matter where you put in, you'll be able to have that knowledge through the kiosk and the information that Nature and ASRT is putting together of where the 5 points are, and Point Mallard being one of those is, I think, awesome to have, because it's pushing as many people as we can through that park and activating outdoor recreation as much as possible.
It's like the bike trail for the water.
Yep.
And the city will set the fees of the rental?
Yeah, so we'll set the fees on the rental. There is, and so this is later to come, but there will be a contract in place with Hive. There's a revenue split because they maintain all digital aspects of this. They maintain liability, which is a big piece. All waivers are signed through their platform. All that is handled through Hive. So them offering that digital service is critical. And so there is a revenue split. I believe it's 70% to the city, 30% to Hive off every rental. We did a lot of, we vetted 4 different organizations or companies that have similar services. That was the best fee structure that we found. We found some that were 70-30, 80-20 in the other direction. And so when we were looking at $55K for the Hive system and you add in the equipment, we actually will, we don't do everything to recoup investments or to make money. A lot of times it's quality of life. We actually will recoup this investment over the next several years. I think anywhere from 2 to 5 years, I anticipate us having the money we invested back, and then we just continue to grow. And obviously there'll be annual expenses when it comes to continued maintenance, but that was included in the analysis that we ran. So and my hope is that this is something that it grows and the outdoor recreation piece grows, but we're not expecting to take a massive loss on this either.
So you said that the risk, they would be signing something that and Hive would
Yep.
liability, but if we own the equipment and something happens to the equipment, how could they assume liability if we don't keep the equipment up, let's say?
Well, that's a good question, to be honest. I think from the documents that I've read that they have provided, they are assuming liability. Now, I'm sure I will look into that and have an answer by next week on the equipment piece.
They'd have to sign to participate, obviously legal. All that.
Yep.
All right, thank
Sure
you.
we'll have to maintain the equipment.
Oh, yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Like if there's a hole in a kayak and someone sinks and they say, well, it wasn't our fault. I 100% agree. And I'll say this too is, if we feel like purchasing the equipment through them, which would be slightly more expensive, and they also maintain it, which means the turnaround times on replacement is longer. But if we feel like that would be better for the interests of the city, then I'm open to going that way.
All right, thank
How
you.
much would the cost difference be to go that way if we had the monthly service?
The monthly service was, I think, around $1,500 a month. And then the equipment you're subject to the equipment they purchase, so it's hard to say, probably about $30K for equipment. But what I'll do is the first thing I'll do is check, how that liability works and how they absorb that liability. And if they do, based off obviously with us, and maybe it's us providing continued maintenance reports, so I'll look into that to see kind of what the fine print looks like.
All right, thank you, Hunter. Resolution number 26043, approve proposed change order for Wilson Morgan Recreation Center.
Any questions?
Anybody got any questions?
It's $9,600. It's
Yeah, it's probably the smallest one we've had, but still, just if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer any of those.
Still under budget. All right, approved resolution number 26044, approved Point Mallory Event Center change order.
I'll actually, Mayor, if you'd like to speak to this a little bit, this was adjustment to the lighting that's at the event center. The lighting that's in there was initially installed by the Parks and Rec Department at the beginning of the project. The lighting is not where it needs to be an adequate event space. This seems to be the most economical option. Instead of replacing all the lights, we're adding switches to the lights which make them dimmable, where we can change the light output. And I'm not a lighting expert, but I know some people that are. So, but anyway, so this is adding switches and control panels and running everything to these lights and making sure they're controllable as well. So this is, I'm not going to say the last change order, but hopefully one of the last ones for the event center.
Still on schedule for an April.
Our hope is as we get into May and get into Jubilee that we're activating that space for those events.
All right, resolution number 26045, approved McMillan Paz and Smith Architects Architectural Services Agreement for new Decatur Services Facility.
Great. Well, good evening, Mayor, Council. We're excited to be at this point. It's been a good little while, but a change is going to come, right? All right, but we had over 20, I think we had 21 applicants apply for or put in for the architecture design. So with the fight team, we were able to narrow that down to 5, and then we actually interviewed 3 this past Friday. From that 3, we decided to go with Macmillan. Just felt that they were very clear. One key word that stuck out to me a lot of times was they said, we always come under budget, and that just stuck out to me. I was like, okay, how did they do that? But they explained that. They actually had a very diverse team. They had over 5 representatives there that just had a wealth of knowledge, and just we felt that that was going to be someone that actually heard our vision, what we wanted, what we needed, was looking at where we were talking about and just trying to make it work. So we really felt good about that. And so with Fight's council, we decided to go with them.
All right, thank you. Any questions? I would just say I think this is a really important step in this process. We've talked about this for a long time now, and so I'm glad to see it moving forward. I think we're going to have something that we're all proud of, and it serves the needs of your department very well in the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Community service is very important to our city. This is a great start. We're all excited about it. Yes.
All right, resolution number 26046, approved designation for voting delegate and alternates for Alabama League of Municipalities business session on April 30th, 2026.
This is just for the Alabama League of Municipalities business session, and it requires council approval to be a designated voter during those meetings.
Any questions? All right, anything else from department? Good, anything from the council? Mayor? All good? All right, thank you everybody for being here.